Hello, my name is Animus of VA Games. Welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man X. Today I'll be taking you through the first of several Sigma's Fortress levels, and it looks like Zero's actually going to help out for once. Unfortunately, he's not going to be as helpful as he likes to think he is. He's going to tell us that he's going to slip in ahead, keep the main defense force busy, and allow us to slip in, but unfortunately, as soon as you follow right behind him, we immediately run into something that looks a lot like a main defense force, so Zero isn't quite as heroic as he thinks he is. But that's alright, you guys should be used to handling things on your own at this point anyway. So let's get right into it. Before you or even Zero can do anything to Sigma, you have to get into his fortress, and that means scaling these floating platforms. But of course, the never-ending respawning enemies here is going to make that very difficult, and if you're having any real problems, I suggest using a charged-up rolling shield. I've seen a lot of people try to rock the Chameleon Sting here, but it's very limited because it will eventually wear off and leave you vulnerable. I suggest using the rolling shield because, unlike the Chameleon Sting, it won't wear off and you can actually use it to destroy the enemies until you get inside. But of course, no sooner than you gain access to the facility are you greeted by its welcoming committee. And it almost looks a bit like a reunion when Vile and Zero crash our little raiding party. But what good would such a reunion be without Zero's showmanship? So instead of taking the opportunity of a 2-on-1 advantage that Zero has over Vile with X, he'll order X to stay back and try to take on Vile all by himself. But when you finally catch up to them, you're going to find out that the noises you just heard were actually the sound of Zero's immense ego being crushed under Vile's giant mecha boot. So, as for this so-called reversal of fortune, it's going to fall upon X, you, to rescue your would-be rescuer and prove yourself in the eyes of your revered mentor. This is X's convenient opportunity to redeem himself in the eyes of his superior. Everything that you've done in the game up until this point has been in preparation for this moment, this very moment. You've been collecting power-ups and upgrades and training your abilities, and now you're finally ready to take on your assailant. Except that this isn't really your opportunity. Your only role in this entire sequence is to get curb-stomped by Vile. Try as you might and struggle as you will, Vile is going to destroy you here. There's no amount of upgrade, no amount of sub-tank usage, no weapon that can save you from the wrath of Vile's ride armor. Even the Hadouken, which I went over in my last episode, can save you from this thing. Nothing can destroy it. You can fight it for as long as you like and use anything you want. This fight will eventually end exactly the same way as your first fight with Vile ended, with you being paralyzed and completely helpless with virtually no health left. With X's abilities having failed us twice now, it will again fall on Zero to save us from certain death. And just like that, in an almost miraculous display of power and selflessness, Zero will make himself useful for the first time since the prologue. Sort of. His self-destruction was certainly enough to take out the seemingly invincible ride armor, but Vile himself, the real threat mind you, is completely unscathed by the attack. So here we find ourselves back at square one, left all by ourselves to face Vile. This time, it doesn't really look like Zero's going to come back to save us. At least the game was nice enough to give us a clean bill of health before setting us off on this fight. But don't get too cocky, Star Fox, because this fight has the potential to be a real hassle depending on the slot machine of Vile's moveset. Even now, with as much experience as I've had with this game, Vile's capable of whittling down my health to just a few bars, if not outright killing me if I get careless. My advice is to have a sub-tank primed and ready to go, and use your weapons carefully. His official weakness is the rolling shield, but that is way too unwieldy to be effective here. So instead, reduce your cares to evasion and let the homing torpedoes do the dirty work for you. If you can dodge them for literally just a few seconds, you can end the fight with full health and without breaking a sweat. Though I've demonstrated that it's possible to do it with the X-Buster only, it isn't really recommended. You need to be equally as quick on your feet as you are with the trigger if you're going to take him out with just your X-Buster. Some of his moves can be really hard to dodge. I just want to take a moment and throw out there that if you haven't gotten the X-Buster upgrade from the Capsule and Flame Mammoth stage at this point, that Zero will actually give you his arm cannon, which is exactly the same as the Capsule upgrade in Flame Mammoth stage. The only difference you can expect is just a few changes to the lines of dialogue in the scene where Zero dies. So mourn your legless friend and move on. The next section of the fortress is the bane of existence to many a starry-eyed young Let's Player on YouTube. It's the infamous respawning that makes this tower climb so difficult, and if the precision jumps are a little beyond you at this point, use a charged up Chameleon Sting to breeze through. Just be quick about it or it'll wear off. X changes the Mega Man formula a little bit in the way of the Robot Master rematches. These fights are scattered throughout the fortress in a predetermined order, unlike the classic series. You can use the homing torpedo if you have any left to take out Boomer Kawanger, just stick to the walls as much as possible to avoid damage. The Maverick rematches should be easier for players than the original encounters because of the abundance of possible upgrades to both health and armor at this point. You should regard them as the speed bumps they are and move right through them without incident. Hey, don't you get to relaxing just yet. Those 2 boss battles were really only mini-bosses, and the real master of this lair is still to come. As far as I'm concerned, this is one of 2 of the most agitating boss fights in the game. We haven't encountered the second guy just yet, but we will in one of the next few episodes. At this point, the only thing standing between you and the mechanoloid I hate the most is a short, critter-filled hallway. As is customary, the respawning here can be a bit troublesome, so you might want to just use the Chameleon Sting and slip through untouched. If you suck like I do, you'll need all the health you can get for the boss to come. In a testament to their limitless ingenuity, Capcom named this abomination Boss Spider. Sounds to me like the localization team was flexing their writer's pinky for that one. But its movement is the real kicker here, as it's the only threat worth considering in this battle. It appears at the top of the screen and generates mechanical webbing that stretches between the vertical pipes. As it descends, and it will do so very quickly, it will move between the vertical pipes if and only if there's a web that connects them. In other words, it will shift to the next nearest pipe guaranteed so long as the connection exists. That means that it is also the most predictable boss, quite possibly in history, since its movements are literally drawn out for you. Unfortunately, you're given enough information that it's likely to overwhelm you to the point that you can't really process it fast enough, and you'll probably take a lot of damage for it as a result. Its only vulnerable spot is in the eye on the center of its abdomen, and that only opens and reveals itself when it's on the ground. Its weakness is the shotgun ice, but the X-Buster works just fine. As a matter of fact, I prefer the X-Buster because the charged blasts are capable of dealing with the little baby spiders that the boss spider throws out at you. The shotgun ice, while it can be used sort of to attack those little guys, it's not as effective as even the lowest level charged shot from the X-Buster. But whatever, as long as you exercise a little bit of quick thinking and some good reflexes, you should be alright for this battle. If you need some extra help, absolutely pack some sub-tanks along with you, and you should be just fine. This will be in no way a life-threatening experience, and it is far from the most difficult battle of the game. It's just, for me, one of the most annoying because I get really frustrated when bosses prevent me from attacking them, like Armored Armadillo and this boss and the other boss that I don't like that comes up later. At any rate, congratulations when you finally take this guy down. The next one up is Sigma's Fortress 2, which is a pretty nifty stage as well, and I hope to see you there. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll get the next one out pretty soon.